Finally getting used to this. Feels dark. So am I. Spooky Sunday dinner. Spooky Sunday dinners. Spooky Sunday dinners. Still can't afford a theme song. Hi, for those of you that don't know, my name is Johnny Taylor, and this is Spooky Sunday Dinners, where every Sunday, every other Sunday, when I'm late Monday, Thursday's gonna be good. We talk about a true crime case that I just really want to talk about while we make a fairly easy recipe. So, if true crime cooking and dark humor is your thing, you might want to hit that subscribe button below. What's up? How'd you feel about last week? It was fun. I'm not gonna lie, I gave Sven too many of those cookies and the cleanup was not fun. So, don't do that. But it's okay, he's fine, I'm fine, everyone's fine. And we're back with a good one this week. Like a real good one this week. Let's just do it. But first, like my shirt, another shout out to the phenomenal Horror Daddy apparel for this gem of a shirt. It gives me poltergeist meets zombie undead, but with a phenomenal manicure moment. I love it. You'll love it. Of course, they'll be linked below. All right, guys, this week, we're finally doing it. We're finally going there. Buckle up, Susie. This week, we are going to be covering the murder of the one and only, the Queen of Texas, the Queen of Tejano music, Selena Quintanilla, later known as Selena Perez. I know, take a second, because I'm excited. And I pretty much know this case by heart, and I'm hoping the people watching do too. So let's have a conversation about it. Comment below what you think. Comment below what time we're gonna all go visit Yolanda. And while we talk about one of the most iconic true crime cases of all time, we are going to be making another family recipe. It is a soup that in my family we call Caldito. Now I know some of you know what caldo is, and while that's very spicy, this one has absolutely no spice at all and I think is really delicious. Fair warning, normally my mom makes this and I am completely winging it this week. And I didn't practice beforehand. So we know who we're talking about and what we're making. That must mean it's time for Karen disclaimers. Hi Karen, shut up. Karen disclaimer number 1. These are not professional recipes. I don't have the nutritional facts and these are not for any type of nutritional value. It's just what I feel like cooking that day. If you make this and you don't like it or you mess up and get sick, do better. Again, not professional. Barely mediocre. I don't even really know how to make this one this week. Karen disclaimer number 2. This is Spooky Sunday Dinners. Emphasis on spooky. We talk about true crime, murder, disease, and all messed up things while we sprinkle a nice little bit of comedy on top, because that's how I cope with being obsessed with something so very dark. If that offends you in any way, shape, or form, makes you want to pick up a phone to call, text, DM, or email me to let me know how horrible of a person I am, get in line. I am numb. Now that that's out of the way, let's go over what we're going to be using this week. A ½ pound of impossible meat or ground beef of your choice. I don't judge. About 1/4 to 1/2 of an onion, however much onion you like. As well as 2 peeled and chopped russet potatoes. I've already done that because you know how to do that. We're also just going to need some salt, pepper, garlic, and water to make it soup. Also, I got a new Dutch oven for Christmas. So the first thing we're gonna do is just get all of this kind of cooked in my pot, and then we're gonna turn it into soup. But really, I have my pot on medium heat. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some olive oil in there with the onion, season it well with garlic, then go in with my potatoes, then meat. Let's talk about the one and only. So, Selena Quintanilla was born on April 16th of 1971 in Lake Jackson, Texas. She was born to Marcela and Abraham Quintanilla. She was the youngest in her family and started showing her musical singing talents as early as the age of 6. She was basically discovered by her father, and that's when he decided to form a family band. He somewhat forced the kids into this family band. Her older sister Suzette was going to play the drums, and her older brother Abraham III was going to play bass guitar. Abraham was so passionate about this because he actually tried to have a band when he was younger and had a really hard time breaking into the music industry, and it had a lot to do with the fact that they were a Latin family trying to do like old school, like it gives me like Temptation style music, I don't know. But the family actually had a restaurant in that area, and that is where Selena and her siblings would perform. Unfortunately, in the 80s, the family lost the restaurant and declared bankruptcy. The kids' band was their only form of income at that time, and they actually ended up moving to Corpus Christi, Texas. Their father, Abraham, became the manager of the band and focused on promoting the band as much as he possibly could because no more restaurant. The band's name was Selena y los Dinos, and they started to really gain some popularity, and they played weddings, quinceañeras, fairs, sometimes on the street corner, various restaurants, parties. I mean, watch the movie. It's the best film to ever come out ever. They also at this time started to professionally record music as well. Now, the really interesting thing is that these kids were in a Tejano band, which is amazing, one of my favorite genres, Tejano music, but it is sung in Spanish. And Selena didn't speak Spanish. She learned all of her vocals and like lyrics phonetically, and as she gained popularity, of course, she learned Spanish and was pretty quick to learning it because of the music and the lyrics. But I think it's the best thing ever that she was just like singing these beautiful, like heartfelt, heart-wrenching Tejano like ballads and awesome music, but didn't know what she was saying. And neither do I when I sing them in the car. Is there such thing as a Tejano ballad? That sounds wrong. That feels wrong. But anyway, Selena ended up leaving school in like 8th grade, and her teachers didn't like that, but you know, she was gonna be a star. The family ended up getting a bus that they called Big Bertha and traveling in it, which if you've seen the movie, all I have to say about that is anything for Salinas. And they really did slowly start to gain popularity and money, which was always a problem for them. They would just play a gig to be able to earn enough money to make gas to go to the next city. But after a lot of hard work by every single person in the family, by 1987, Selena won Female Vocalist of the Year at the Tejano Music Awards, and she was absolutely just blowing up. At one time, they called her the like Mexican-American Madonna, but with quote less controversy, because she was just a sweet, family-oriented person. You don't understand how obsessed with her I am, but not like Yolanda. And now we enter Chris Perez, who ended up becoming the family band's lead guitarist and helped like create the music for Selena's various Coca-Cola ads. And again, as most of us know, Chris and Selena entered into a romantic relationship that was a bit of a drama with the family. I'm not going to get too much into their relationship just for time purposes, but I love the fact that they confessed their love for each other at a Pizza Hut, and then quite a while later ended up eloping so that her father would like accept him. It is Romeo and Juliet, but the way we wanted it to end, except for the actual ending. But now this whole thing is like such a family affair. Well, it was a family affair until mid-1991. That's when we enter a woman by the name of Yolanda Saldivar, who really, in case you guys didn't know, was just like a crazy, obsessed fan. She was just a fan of Selena. And Yolanda actually had a history of stealing money from her employers and being like a crazy stalker when it came to certain celebrities. Story goes is she goes to like a concert for Selena y los Dinos and just becomes obsessed from that moment. She basically from there stalks Abraham, the father, and it just keeps asking him like, can I start a fan club for Selena? Can I run a fan club? And after like 15 calls like a day or a week or something. He finally is like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, I think it'll be a good way to like start popularity or like drum up popularity for the band. If they can kind of join a club, they pay and they get something for that. Now, it really sucks because Yolanda is now in charge of all the money coming into the fan club. She ends up finally meeting Selena in December of 1991, and actually they become like close friends. Like, Selena is blowing up and she doesn't really know at the time who to trust. And Yolanda came across as like a sweet family friend that they could put a lot of trust into when it came to business opportunities and fans and stuff like that. By 1994, Selena, who is just huge now, she is everything, and she's really into fashion, bustia la caca, and she decides to open up 2 fashion boutiques called Selena, etc. At this time, in 1994, Yolanda also ends up becoming Selena's assistant. Then after she becomes Selena's assistant, she becomes the manager of these boutiques. So, Yolanda now has access to all the fan club money, the boutique money, and a company card because she's Selena's assistant. And it's like, I don't know how many times I gotta say it to everybody, but like, don't trust people. Stop trusting people. Don't trust anyone. And I say that because, of course, within a year, or kind of less than a year with this timeline, both of the boutiques start failing. She can't keep employees around. She keeps firing people. She's like power hungry, whatever. Then Abraham realizes that he's been getting a bunch of like calls and messages and stuff from fans that keep saying, hey, I signed up for the Selena fan club. I never got anything. I sent a bunch of money. I'm not getting anything. Those keep coming in like crazy. So upon further investigation, the family finds out that Yolanda has actually embezzled around $60,000. Some sources say that it was closer to $100,000, and Yolanda was also writing a bunch of forged checks. All right, our potatoes have softened up a bit. Now I'm gonna go in with our whatever meat you wanna use. That goes in next. Now, of course, Selena does not want to believe this. This was her close family friend, her assistant, and she was just like, there's no way Yolanda would ever do this to me. Absolutely not. Her family and her husband are pretty much like, bitch, wake up. They end up firing the troll, disgusting Yolanda, right? And Selena thinks, hey, can we still be friends? Yolanda is like, yeah, sure, let's be friends. But also, as soon as she's fired, runs and goes to buy a .38 caliber revolver along with some hollow point bullets, which are like a very special kind of bullet that is meant to inflict the most damage to whatever it hits. I don't know, guess she got it just in case. Unfortunately though, Yolanda actually has some like bank records and tax documents that she took that Selena and the family business really need back. So for 3 weeks, Yolanda keeps trying to meet with Selena alone. And of course, Selena's family and her husband are like, something doesn't feel right. And someone always goes with her. And they never end up meeting up. They don't get the documents. It is a huge drama. So finally, Yolanda convinces Selena to meet her at a Days Inn in Corpus Christi. And the reason she convinces her to come alone is because Yolanda said, hey, I was in Mexico. I was just raped. I need someone to talk to. I need you to come here. Which that's a messed up thing to do to somebody that's trying to be your friend. Like, I would fight her right now, today. But Selena, being the literal angel she is like, oh my God, okay, I'll be there for you. We'll get the documents. We'll get this all figured out. All right, guys, now that our meat and potatoes is pretty much fully cooked, we're gonna go in and start adding water. We're gonna do 1 cup of water at a time. Now, the rule of thumb that my mom always taught me with this recipe is you wanna have about 4 fingers above the meat and potatoes of water. How you're gonna measure that, I don't know. We're gonna go through it together. But once we add that water, we're gonna re-season it, bring it to a boil, and let it simmer at that for about 20-ish minutes. Keep stirring, keep seasoning, keep thinking about Selena. All right, I have like 8.5-ish cups of water in there. We're gonna go on this journey together and see if that works. If not, do more, do less, do better than me. Just make sure it boils, you get all the flavors in. It's gonna be delicious, you guys. So Selena, being the absolute gem that she is, agrees. She's gonna go talk to her, they're gonna work through it, they're gonna get the documents. Everything's gonna be okay, right? Never. Of course, a heated argument breaks out, and out of Yolanda's purse comes that .38 caliber gun. As soon as Selena sees it, she turns to run away, and Yolanda shoots her in kind of her back shoulder area as she's running. The bullet severs an artery, and this is where Selena's fight or flight kicks in, and she books it to the hotel lobby. Witnesses see Yolanda running after her, pointing the gun at her and calling her a bitch. Which, like, you're not in a soap opera, Yolanda. Selena ends up running 130 yards, leaving a trail of blood behind her, and finally collapses in the lobby. Yolanda, of course, tries to run, leave, escape, and the hotel staff immediately start trying to help Selena, who is just bleeding. There's blood everywhere. They don't really know what's going on or what happened. And the most messed up thing of this whole story is once Selena collapses to the floor, she's losing so much blood that her last words were, "Yolanda Saldivar, room 158. I know, she's a fighter. An ambulance gets there in less than 2 minutes and does take Selena to the hospital. She is dead upon arrival, but they decide to try to get a heartbeat and get her into surgery as soon as possible. You have to remember that this is like the biggest star in this area. People are obsessed with her, they worship her, and these doctors are like, we have to save her. But unfortunately, after multiple attempts and a very long time trying to save her life, Selena was pronounced dead at 1:05 p.m. Yolanda went on to have a nearly 9-hour standoff with the FBI while she sat in a car with a gun to her head, which is so performative and gross and boring because we all know that she wasn't going to do shit to herself. What's absolutely insane to me is after an autopsy is performed, they find out that once that artery was severed in Selena's body, her fight or flight kicked in, and with the adrenaline rushing through her and her attempting to escape, her heart actually pumped out all of the blood in her body. And there's a theory that if she would have just collapsed and stayed there, she could have lived. But most people think that Yolanda would have just shot her again. Now, of course, Yolanda tried to say that it was an accident, she was trying to kill herself, but that makes absolutely no sense with the bullets that she purchased, and she literally pulled a gun on Selena. Somebody saw Selena running from her chasing her, and she shoots her in the back. At least try like a better story. Like, I just hate her. And of course, she's arrested and tried for first-degree murder. Again in court, she tries to say that it was an accident. Nobody's gonna believe her. And on October 23rd of 1995, which is like just a little over a week before I was born, Yolanda was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 30 years. So in 2025, we all better be ready. I'm ready. Good luck, Yolanda. And Yolanda is actually the most hated person in prison, that they actually have to keep her in solitary because every single prisoner wants to kill her because we all grew up on Selena's music. Alright guys, our soup has been boiling for a little over 20 minutes and it seems about ready. However much water I put in there that I told you earlier seemed to be fine. Obviously, Selena's funeral was absolutely huge, the biggest thing to hit that area, and it said that about 78,000 fans signed a book of condolence. She had thousands of people showing up to the funeral to walk by her casket. It was huge. I mean, it was, you know, they said that the trial at the time in the area was like as big as the OJ trial. And it was. Selena was absolutely loved. And because she was loved, I'd like to take the time right now to say a huge fuck you to Howard Stern for him mocking her murder and funeral at this time, and I want him to know that we didn't forget. I wasn't even born yet, and I didn't forget. But anyway, Selena's legacy lives on, and her music to this day is the best thing ever. If Techno Cumbia is not your favorite song in the world, I don't get you. Selena was a Grammy Award-winning artist, Latin Billboard Awards, the Tejano Music Awards, anything you could think of. And this was going to be the year that she crossed over into pop music with the absolute bop that is Dreaming of You. We remember Selena as the absolute goddess she was, and Yolanda for the absolute troll that she is. The best thing ever, one of my favorite facts ever, is that in the movie and in real life, Yolanda looks like an old bitch, right? Like, she's old. She was like 35 when this happened. Selena will forever be remembered as the Queen of Texas and the Queen of Tejano music. I really want to know, what do you guys think about this case? Was it as big for you as it was for the people in this area and the people in the Latin community? Did you listen to her music? Did you know about this case? Because this was a case I grew up hearing about all the time. I mean, this was one of the first movies that I watched on repeat. This was everything. So yeah. Here is our finished caldito. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but we'll try. Oh! Can you see it? Just take my word for it. Thank you guys for cooking with me, and thank you for letting me tell you this iconic, insane story. Don't forget to comment below future crimes you want me to cover and recipes you want me to try, and I have to know what you guys think about this case. I wasn't able to really deep dive into Selena's music career as much as I would like to, but watch the movie, watch the new Netflix series, listen to her music, and yeah, there's no one better. Thank you for watching Spooky Sunday Dinners. I am still singing. I still can't afford a theme song. You should eat this with some tortillas. Scooby-Doo bop, these were for P.